What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sitting Courtside, episode 23. We are in the GOAT debate, officially. It's the GOAT episode. Dante, how we doing, baby?
Jerry, I'm doing good. Ready to talk some NBA hoops. Like we talked about a little bit before, this is the first day of the week that I'm not feeling like shit because I had a wrestling event this past weekend and I took a beating. So if you want to check that out, check it out on my Twitter page so you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But I am healed up. I'm ready to go, Jerry, because we have a lot of basketball to talk about. A whole lot of stuff happened this week.
You talk about taking a beating. Unfortunately, one coach had to take one on the way out the door. Adrian Griffin. Let's rip off the Band-Aid and just hop right into this thing, man.
Yeah.
But there's a list of stats I need to throw out here. I mean, the Bucks were 30-13 in 43 games, which was the second best record in the league.
Very good record. Very good record. Yep.
Right behind your Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
They just beat us. Beat us by 40 less than 2 weeks ago.
It's a little odd. It's an odd situation. And obviously now they're in the looks. They're looking for a bunch of different head coaches. Doc Rivers is the main name that's linked to everything. But
I love it. I love the NBA, man. It's constant entertainment. It really is.
As I'm sure you've seen already, Twitter is having a field day.
Yes, they are.
With the Doc Rivers.
They are.
There, but.
So who's gonna call the NBA Finals now? Doc Rivers was the best color commentator that they had. They're screwed. They have no one now.
Conversation for another day. But so reportedly, the front office was actually attending the practices, which is totally normal. Hell, when I go to Hornets practices, sometimes I see Mitch or the ownership team up in the little glass box, just looking down on things. But they were actually on the court, observing practice, seeing what was going on because Bobby Portis had problems with Griff. Giannis had problems with Griff. Damian Lillard was trying to adjust and sacrifice and adjust to Griffin's system. It's been
there's a lot
different reports. So I mean, before we even keep going into all this mess, I just want to get your first reaction and just tell me about how you feel about the firing. Who's going to replace him? Everything. Give me your whole nine. Give me your whole spiel.
I mean, we've heard reports in the past, the last few weeks, last few months about some issues potentially being in the locker room with Adrian Griffin. So this coming out wasn't it's not like it was out of the blue as far as I didn't know they had any issues, blah, blah, blah. We've heard they have had issues. It is surprising though that they decided to do it at this point in the season. It's happened before. And a lot of people are comparing it to the David Blatt situation in Cleveland with LeBron when they had a fantastic record, I think very similar to what the Bucks had, and they fired him. Things weren't working out well. Players weren't seeing eye to eye. It's uncharacteristic. It's weird to see a coach get fired, having these numbers 30-13, second best record in the NBA. They had top 5 offensive rating, and the defensive rating wasn't that good, but they had good ratings and stuff. But whatever the issue was, coaching. Maybe something behind the scenes. Maybe he's a nasty motherfucker like Ime Udoka. I don't know. Maybe something happened that we don't know about. I mean, they did what they had to do. I mean, I'm assuming if it had to have been a very good reason to let him go. Who's going to replace him? It looks like Doc Rivers. There was a lot of conflicting reports last night. They were saying they're talking, and then they were like, Doc Rivers hasn't even been contacted yet. And then there was a report that said he got hired, and then there's a report that said that they're still negotiating. It seems like it's going to lead to Doc Rivers. It seems like he's going to be the next head coach. We'll see what happens now, but I don't know if they get better or worse from this. I don't know. You just wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm trying to figure things out here. I mean, for those who don't know, Adrian Griffin was actually a former NBA player for, I believe, 9 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Then after that, spent 13 to 16 years on the sideline as an assistant. So, he's
not no scrub. He has experience. He
knows the game at the highest of levels. He's been around several NBA benches in Toronto and now in Milwaukee. But I don't know his whole coaching track record there. But just in general, this isn't an idiot. This is somebody that I think got dealt a bad hand. And yeah, me saying that is, wow, he had Giannis and Dame. I just think this goes back to what you mentioned David Blatt and the LeBron situation.
Mm-hmm.
First year head coaches shouldn't walk into situations with multiple star personalities. I
It's a
just don't
lot to
think it's
handle.
smart.
It's a
Yeah.
lot to handle.
You mentioned the David Blatt
If there
situation.
was a first year head coach in LA this year for the Clippers, he would have given his
Yeah.
resignation.
Yeah, like it would have happened immediately.
Yeah, yeah,
Like if it's gonna happen, you should
yeah.
already be ingrained in the system.
Yeah,
And it should
I
be
agree.
like a situation where you've been on the coaching staff, like Ty Lue, who
This
took
should
over
have
from
been,
David Blatt.
instead of Adrian Griffin, it probably should have been an assistant, like an interim coach or something like that for the time being.
Somebody in Milwaukee that just understands personalities, or even if it was Nick Nurse, who was also available for a job this offseason.
Apparently, Giannis didn't want Nick Nurse.
Right.
The
Yeah.
Bucks
Apparently
did, but Giannis didn't.
he didn't want Nick Nurse, but that could have
One of
been
the
something that made sense.
right. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people. You were going back to the jokes and the people having field days. It's like all Adrian Griffin did was suggest that, hey, maybe we find a better role player to replace Thanasis on the bench. And Giannis was like, get this guy out of here.
Twitter is a dangerous place whenever
I
whenever
love it,
firings
though.
come.
I love it, though. There's no short of entertainment. There's no shortage of entertainment on Twitter. That is for damn sure. It's my favorite app, favorite social media for sure.
I'll just make this last point before like I give you back the floor.
Sure.
Back to the first year head coaches. We mentioned David Blatt, yeah, several times already. But Steve Nash was another name that comes to mind that shouldn't have taken a Brooklyn job, although his leash was a whole lot longer than what David Blatt's and, obviously Adrian Griffin here was. KD, Kyrie, and then eventually James Harden just were not, and Ben Simmons, if you want to include him too, were not ideal pieces for a first-year head coach to walk into. LeBron, Kyrie, K-Love, not ideal. Giannis and Dame, I feel like some coaches need to start off just with a smaller roster, a rebuilding process.
Because I'm thinking like one example, but like Eric Spoelstra with the Heat, like when they brought in the big three, there wasn't a new head coach. Spoelstra was already there with Dwayne Wade, so he already was involved in it and stuff like that. Right? Yeah, exactly.
Ready to take on whatever because he already dealt with Wade, Shaq, Alonzo Mourning, Jason Williams, Gary Payton. He's been around so many guys that by the time he actually did get the head coaching gig, it didn't matter. It's like, I know I'm built for this. I've seen the worst of the worst. Yes, LeBron is probably the biggest ego / personality in the NBA, but hell, he weathered that shit like a pro.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they got two of them because of it. Yeah, no, I agree with the whole coach thing. And it's like, it's unfortunate. A guy lost his job. You never want to see that.
Yeah,
to me, it seems like whatever the issue was, it didn't seem like it was an issue like Adrian Griffin didn't know what he was doing. It just probably wasn't what the players wanted.
I don't think it was expected.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to me to see how this plays out because I don't know if they're going to get better or worse from this. Like people make their jokes about Doc Rivers and stuff. It's like, oh, we're winning now because we don't get him on ESPN, and the Bucks are going to lose in the second round now. Like Doc Rivers is a great coach. He's had his flaws and stuff like that, but I don't know what he's going to bring to the table here. I don't know how he's going to coach a player like Giannis, Damian Lillard. Is he going to take like, a step to the side and, have like the players have a big say? I don't know. But it's going to be they definitely put a whole lot more eyes and spotlight on them for the rest of the season than they had before.
If you're going to fire a head coach in the middle of the season that honestly done a fantastic job record-wise, there's probably a disconnect in the locker room. We already talked about all that.
Has to be, yeah.
Assuming that's
true. Or he just slept with one of the higher-ups' wife. One of the two.
Maybe. I can't put anything past these freaky coaches in today's NBA world.
You don't know anymore.
But if you're going to fire a head coach in the middle of the season, it better be a damn good one that's coming back through those doors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you can't fire something for nothing.
It's a rotating door. Once one leaves, you got to have another one enter. Yeah. Big, I don't want to say big shoes to fill, but like a lot of, expectations are there. Big expectations.
Because, think about it. Even though they are 30-13 at the time of this recording, this is the most non-intimidating 30-13 team I've ever seen. Because when
I
we
feel
get
like
thrown
we don't even think like the Bucks are like we know the Bucks are at the top like the Eastern Conference and stuff, but people don't talk about them like they're one of the top teams at all.
no, I don't. I'm not thinking about them like a Boston. I'm not even thinking they're better than Philadelphia right now. I think Philadelphia can come in
You
and
would
beat.
think the way people are talking about Embiid and the Sixers that they would be better than the Bucks right now.
Yeah, I kind of think
Yeah,
they right now if they played a 7-game series,
it would be
I would
close.
probably pick Philadelphia.
It would be very
Hell, I
close.
might
Yeah.
even pick the Knicks, Miami. I'm taking all these teams over them because I'm not really
Well,
that worried about them.
well, Miami might be a better matchup now. That's for sure. But yeah, hey, high expectations for the Bucks the rest of the season. They really have to. This is a championship or bust for them. That doesn't change. That doesn't change. So we'll see.
You know, we already kind of touched on it, especially with what Miami did in the past 24 to 48 hours at the time of this January 24th recording. Your boy, my boy, Terry
Our
Rozier,
boy.
our boy, traded to the Miami Heat for a first-round pick in 2027 and Kyle Lowry. It's kind of bittersweet for me personally. And like, I'm sure for you, it's like, damn it, like.
This fucking sucks. So happy. It's good for both sides. Charlotte gets a draft pick. They get another veteran player that they could trade as well. Get another pick out of potentially.
Likely.
And the Heat get their Damian Lillard. They get their Donovan Mitchell. They get their Drew Holiday. They finally get their guy. Terry Rozier is great. We talked about him a few times on the show and during the games and stuff. You even asked me during one of our games last week that unfortunately has not made it out yet, but I still think I'm going to release it, of where these players are going to get traded. You asked Terry Rozier. I said LA or Miami. Miami was the team to come in and swoop him up. I mean, Lillard. Rozier is averaging 23 points per game this year, almost 4 rebounds, almost 7 assists a game, 46% field goal shooting. He's having a career high in numbers. LaMelo was out a lot of the year, so Terry was really able to step up and increase his trade value, show teams that he's good, man. He's been good for a while. I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's going to go to a franchise that gets attention and stuff, and I think people will be able to, his talents will be a little bit more under the spotlight. And he'll get a little bit more media attention. He'll get his flowers and stuff. So I'm happy that he's going to be put into a good situation because he's great. I was so upset when Boston got rid of him. I wanted them to keep him, but that was years ago. So be it. At this point, Jerry, I just don't want to see Miami in the playoffs. Like it's already this whole thing with them and the Celtics, right? But then you add Terry Rozier to the mix, and it's just and it actually is brutal because on my Twitter, I'm not trying to plug it in again, but on my Twitter, somebody, a Heat fan, quote tweeted a tweet from mine from 4 years ago, and it was me posting a playoff highlight of Terry Rozier crossing up Eric Bledsoe, and he hit the 3 to give them the lead. I think it was game 1 or 2. And he was like, damn, can't wait for Terry Rozier to do this to Boston to beat them in game 5. And that broke my heart. Because if Terry Rozier pulls that shit on us in the playoffs, I'm never going to be able to forgive him.
Hey.
Won't be able to do it. I love Scary Terry. Just don't hurt me in the playoffs, please.
Yeah, nah. That if I'm Scary Terry, that's a game I'm gonna get up for in Boston.
Circling on the calendar. Well, actually, we play them tomorrow. I'm pretty sure he's making his debut against us tomorrow.
See, that's like a crazy full circle. Like obviously,
isn't it? Yeah.
I've spent the last 4 to 5 years of my reporting career covering this dude as soon as the trade happened for him and Kemba. So it's been kind of cool to get to know him over the years. Obviously, COVID derailed some of that, but still seeing him around the building and getting to have some small talk with him. Yeah, hell, even some deeper conversations and context. So it's very.
Yeah, I know you text me about this.
Yeah,
very bittersweet.
Yeah, I'm very indifferent about it. I mean, he was our best player so far this year, with LaMelo missing a lot of time and pretty much generating all the offense. Steve Clifford would tell you, anybody in the organization would tell you that man was the heart and soul of the roster. So if anybody does deserve the chance to actually go play for a winning organization and fit right in, hand in glove fit with an organization that He's going to make the most of his talents. And I was talking to my brother about this a couple days ago when the trade went down. I think that's automatically the best guard since D Wade in the Miami Heat uniform. With all due respect to Tyler Hero, but there's levels to this. And I'm coming from a stance where he can automatically be a two or three option any given night with Bam and Jimmy and Tyler. They have 4 guys now that all average 20 points a game, and Jimmy, Bam, and Tyler, along with Terry Rozier. So Eric Spoelstra has a lot of new. Well, just by adding him, you have a lot of new layers and wrinkles you could throw in an offense now. That you have a guy that is a great catch and shoot option, or that could obviously go out and get his own. But in general, just a general question. Yeah. You already kind of answered it, but how scary does Scary Terry make the Miami Heat? Like, we're thinking, what's the ceiling?
From a numbers standpoint, for all due respect to Miami, I'd probably say my levels were at like a 6 out of 10 before this trade. I'll give them that 6 out of 10. Now, 8.2, 8.3 maybe. I'm being serious. Like, people, like we were talking, like they didn't get Lillard, they didn't get Donovan, they didn't get Drew, right? But they got the guy that Boston had that could very well turn it up against us. This could be the best, like, bang for their buck. Kyle Lowry and a first-round pick for someone like Rozier. He's going to fit right in, too. The Heat culture and everything like that with Pat Riley, they're going to love him. He's going to be perfect for that team. It's a great fit. It upsets me how happy I am for him because, like he's going to do great. Like, that team, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Just, I don't let Philly or Milwaukee deal with them first or something. Let them deal with them.
You know, I remember, like, you just kind of unlocking memories for me. Because when I asked Terry, or everybody asked Terry every time Boston used to come back to Charlotte, or they'll go to Boston to go play them, he'll always be like, yeah, nah, this is definitely playing them, being back here, playing against these guys that I kind of grew up with to some degree. I always want to give him my best shot.
Of course.
So
it's like, he does.
Terry had great games in a Charlotte uniform against the Celtics, no matter where he was playing at. Now, just imagine this is the best personnel since he's left Boston.
You take it up a notch a little bit.
Now you're going to be playing for something. And Terry said since he's been in Charlotte for these last 4.5 years, I just want to get back to the postseason. I can't wait.
Oh, he'll get there. He'll get there. He'll get there. He'll get there this year. That's for sure.
And to draw a matchup against y'all, against the Boston Celtics in the ECF or in the second round, only God knows how this Eastern Conference is going to fall. So, like, I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'm happy for Terry. We're both happy for Terry.
Yeah, I think I said this last week. I was like, we were talking about the Celtics. I was like, I've seen enough. I just want to get to the postseason. Like, let's skip over these last 40 games. Let's take our time. We don't have to rush to the postseason. We can take our time. Let's see how things unfold and develop.
It's great.
Yeah, great trade. I mean, again, both sides got what they needed out of it. Charlotte, I'm sure this is not the end. There's a whole lot of rumors about Gordon Hayward potentially being traded or even bought out. Miles Bridges, PJ Washington. Definitely seems like it's a fire sale. Well, hey, listen, you want to stack up on some picks, you get ready, start to retool and stuff. That's what you got to do. But definitely seems like some guys are going to be some teams are going to be buying some players from the Hornets this deadline.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of good assets here in the city that could actually make sense for a lot of other teams. I mean, there aren't touchables.
Hayward's going to be a big addition for a team.
Yeah, like our damn.
Even Lowry too. Whoever gets him.
Yeah, our untouchables have already been like carved out. LaMelo's off the table, Brandon Miller's off the table, and so is Mark Williams. Mm-hmm. That's our big three that we want to keep intact. That's what we want to grow with. Mm-hmm. But everybody else, you mentioned Gordon Hayward, who's having a pretty solid season. He's just
like 15-5-5 almost, something like that.
PJ Washington is one of the better catch and shoot shooters in the league. He could be on sale. Miles Bridges is another guy on a very cheap and affordable contract because of the dumb shit that he did last year, obviously. He's very affordable.
Yeah.
So we have legit three pieces that we could see walk out the door. Nick Richards is even a name that's getting some love to play some backup center for some teams. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like after February 8th, like when the trade deadline hits, I can walk
You're
into,
gonna
I can walk
you're
over to
gonna
the
be like
press room.
you're gonna be walking in the press room like Will Smith, the last episode of Fresh
Yeah,
Prince, when he's
yes,
looking around looking for everyone.
yes, yes. Like, who the hell are you? Nice to meet you. I'm Jerry. Like, it's
Kyle
gonna be
Lowry, what the hell are you doing here?
yeah. Like, oh man, like I'm excited as a reporter covering the team.
Of course,
It's
yeah.
it's kind of finally cool
It's
to see that they're
hitting.
finally selling. They're accepted.
They're
Accepted.
doing something. They're doing
Yeah,
something.
they're
Yeah.
not going to compete for a championship, for a playoff spot, let alone a playing spot. So let's just go ahead, move these assets, and get some draft capital back. I'm happy to see them finally move in this direction. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a Hornets fan, but I am a fan of the game, and I cover the fucking team, and we've been bad since I started, even before I started. Damn it, the team won 7 games last decade. Like, it's...
Oh, Jerry. I wish you nothing but the best. I think they're doing the right thing. The Hornets are doing the right thing at the end of the day.
Before
All
we
right.
switch gears here, just last question about this specific topic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this was the best trade done so far? Because Terry Rozier to the Heat could very well be, that's a championship move that gets them to the finals and maybe even puts them over the hump. OG Anunoby, whatever, to the Knicks.
Yeah, one of them.
They're like 9-1 with him in the lineup. Pascal Siakam to the Pacers. It's not really panning out so hot right now. I think they're like 0-3 with them.
Halliburton's been iffy. I think he came back, but now he's out for a few more games.
Yeah.
I think that definitely needs a little bit more. I mean, if you look at I think the Raptors-Knicks trade, obviously we have a sample size. Obviously, the Knicks made out well in that trade. The Raptors, got some pieces to build around and stuff. So, that was a great trade. This trade for the Heat, like I just said, or like we were saying, this takes them from being a team. It's like, oh yeah, this is definitely a team that's going to be contending to, oh my gosh, I do not want to face this team whatsoever. So this trade for the Heat could be just as beneficial as it was OG going to the Knicks. We'll just have to wait and see. I believe that it will be as the Heat will get a lot out of it, just like the Knicks got a lot out of OG. But we just have to see.
Yeah, the Heat just now with adding Terry Rozier, they're automatically a better team than they were last year because it's essentially.
I agree.
They replaced Max Strus and Gabe Vincent with Jaime Jaquez and Terry Rozier.
Which is, I do that. I would do that every day of the week for sure.
Yeah.
So they will be a tough team to face at some point.
Yeah. Speaking of tough teams to face, how about some tough players who probably guard one-on-one? Of course, everybody watching this knows that we had to get this on this topic.
Come on, you kidding me?
Embiid dropped 70, followed up by a Karl Anthony Towns 62-piece. But Embiid's came in a win over the Spurs and Wemby, and Karl Anthony Towns and the Timberwolves lost to the Charlotte Hornets, one of the worst teams in the league. But
bad loss too. Bad
loss.
Yeah, you hear the interviews and the players talking after. Let's get one at a time. Let's tackle one player at a time. I also want to point this out. Okay, so that the night that this happened, the Celtics were playing the Dallas Mavericks. I turned that game off and I put on League Pass and I double boxed it and I had Embiid and Towns and the other one because I had to watch this. Embiid, I did. Embiid, bro. I don't know if you were watching the game, Jerry. He actually couldn't miss. There was a point in the fourth quarter where they were up 13, I think. Mm-hmm. And it was the one play that Embiid didn't touch the ball. He was open at the top of the key, but they were passing around for and they got an open three. The Philly fans were booing the fuck out of them whenever they weren't passing it to Embiid. They wanted them to feed Embiid the ball. 70 points, man, that's a lot. That's a lot of points for a big man, too. No threes or nothing like that. That's insanely impressive. You have, we've had the Damian Lillards, the Donovan Mitchells, and Devin Bookers, those 70-point performances over the years. Hell, you can even talk about Kobe's. It was the anniversary. We can talk about Kobe's 81 if you want.
Yeah.
All those performances, they hit threes and stuff like that. That's a part of the game. Embiid getting 70 by just taking mid-range, free throw, shots in the paint. That was one of the craziest performances I've ever seen. Like with my own
Unguardable.
2 eyes, unguardable. And then and then here I am posting a short last night where the question is, who's the most unguardable player in the NBA? And here I am saying Kevin Durant, and Joel Embiid just dropped 70. So that's
I
fine.
think that's a Joel.
You added it after saying you would pick Embiid, so you were right. You were valid. But yeah, man,
It's crazy.
Embiid, fucking crazy, dude.
I
So
mean,
crazy.
this is the definition of like a supernova, right? Like, I think we've kind of speculated since we've seen Wilson 100-point game. Obviously, we weren't born because there's still no film on that, by the way. But
I won't believe it until I see it.
honestly, low key. But then we simulate to 2006, right, or 2005, whatever it was with Kobe. Kobe's 81. It's like, damn, I wonder who will be the next closest guy. Then last year we get 2 guys drop 71, or a couple years even back, you get Devin Booker doing it. Then you get Embiid doing it. It's just the game is in such a great place today where we can see offensive explosions like this probably any given night. But when it's a big man, like you mentioned, you already basically took all the words out of my mouth that I wanted to put out here. Primarily twos, just paint touches. This is the definition of a specimen that you just don't know what the fuck to do with him on the court. And that's like,
there's nothing you can do. There's
as Wemby, like, talk about a coming to the NBA moment. Like,
welcome to the NBA. You go up against the MVP, dropping fucking 70 on your head. Are you nuts?
And in Wemby's defense, he did drop 33.
He did. It was a good game. They only won by 10. Yeah, it was a great game. It was
actually fairly competitive.
It was.
Most of the game. So I mean, it's just this is just what we live for as NBA fans.
Embiid shot 2 threes. Sorry to interrupt you. Embiid shot 24 for 41, 1 for 2 on threes, 21 for 23 from the free throw line. And he had 70 points, 18 rebounds. He almost had 20. He almost was added to the 2020 list, and then 5 assists. Crazy. That's a really fucking good game.
This is what we're here for. But, sticking on Embiid while we kind of move things along here, do you think he'll repeat as MVP? And I'm only asking this because we know his numbers are better. More points, more rebounds, more assists, more blocks. But obviously we have the new quota of games that you have to play with the new CBA. You have to play at least 65. And he's played over 65 the past 2 seasons. But
he's cutting it close this year. I think he can only miss 7 or 8 games the rest of the season. I mean, we're looking at – so I'm actually happy you brought that up because I pulled up the graphic. He's averaging 3 more points than last year, 3 full. So his numbers this year are 36.1 points per game, 11.6 rebounds per game, 5.9 assists per game, and 1.9 blocks per game. All of those numbers are higher by at least 1. The rebounds are up. The points are up by 3. The rebounds are up by 1.5. The assists are up by almost 2, and the blocks are up by a little bit. But all the numbers are better, and he's having these unbelievable performances like we're talking about right now. But if he misses a few more games, he isn't eligible for anything. MVP, All NBA, none of that. Listen, if he's the MVP, let's get that out of the way. There is no player in the NBA right now better than Joel Embiid. No player. But if he misses the games, he can't win it. He can't. If he plays the games, he's winning it. I don't think that's going to be close.
You know what? Let's ask that question. Forget it. Forget I even asked it.
All right, forget it. Yeah. What'd you ask?
Let's ask, do you think that this rule is even beneficial? Because now we're at a point where guys like this, guys like Embiid, guys like Kawhi, even though he's played a majority of the games this season so far, but him and PG have a track record of missing games. Anthony Davis even playing a lot more games this year. There's a lot more consistency coming out of these NBA stars, but do you think it's even valid? Because now we're talking about guys missing all NBA teams. Where that means they're missing out on money if they don't make an all NBA team. That means if they fail to win an award or get this certain accolade, they're missing out on potentially $30 million. How do you feel about this rule in general? Because I think we talked about it when it happened in the summertime. But here now, it's more real. It's in our face that this is the best player in the game right now. And that is proving it. We could see another back-to-back MVP for the third time. But Just talk to me about the rule in general. Just how do you feel about that shit in general? Because it's kind of annoying.
I think I feel the same way now that I did when it happened. Like, I get it. I get what they're trying to do. And in a way, it's working. Like you just mentioned, all those guys are playing more games and stuff like that. But it can be unfair to players that aren't resting and like are missing time due to injury. And like how I look at things like this is like how it goes against how they've always done things. So it's like we've had MVPs in the past, all these awards and stuff of guys that have only played an X amount of games. But now it's like we're changing the course of history where it's like we're not going to be giving the best player the award if he's missing 17, 18 games in this season. And like I get it. Like, and there should be some sort of like requirement, but I said this when it happened. I think 65 games is too small of an, like it should be like 60 or something like that. Even 5 extra games or something like that. I thought the number was a little bit too much. And I still do think that now. And as we're getting closer, people were complaining about that back then. If it actually does happen this year where Embiid doesn't win it, people are going to be like, obviously Philadelphia fans are going to be pissed, but people are going to be enraged. People are going to be pissed, and rightfully so. Like, I think that's kind of like, Embiid missed some games this year for, whatever reasons and stuff. I'm sure he wants to win the MVP. I'm sure he wants to be out there playing for his team, because when he is out there, he's dropping 70 points. I'm not a huge fan of the rule. I'm a fan. I don't mind the fact that they're trying to put, like, again, requirements and stuff, but it's flawed. I think they need to change some stuff eventually.
Yeah, like something's got to give here, because I get it. Iron Men should be respected in this league. If you're playing all 82, or if you're playing 70 plus, shout out to you. That shit is hard. You're playing back-to-backs. You're playing about 5 games a week or whatever it is. Like,
and that should play a part into like MVP voting and stuff like that. But I don't think that's the end all be all of the amount of games that you play. Because also too, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's like Embiid is going to be like, if Embiid misses 2 extra games, he doesn't win the MVP. People are going to look at this like Joel Embiid's the MVP. Who's going to be the not the fake MVP, but the runner-up MVP? Like, it's going to be like a Mickey Mouse MVP or something like. People will say that stuff. That it will happen.
You know it's coming. I mean, it
will 100%.
Look at how they're reacting over the Doc Rivers situation. If they're reacting like that over that, they're going to blow up out of damn near
1,000%.
So I mean, to piggyback off of what you're saying, it's to the point now where we can clearly see, and I think unless you just don't like Joel Embiid, or if you're super pro Jokic, and a lot of people already penciled him in as the greatest big ever after last year.
Sure.
You have to be blind to not see that Embiid is playing at the highest level.
It's not even close. I love Jokic, and I would love the whole head-to-head thing again, but this year, out of all the years that they've gone like head-to-head, this is by far the furthest like distance between the two. Embiid is by far clearly the MVP this year. There is no one close. No. And I hate Philly. And you know me. I don't like Philly. And I'm telling you, like, he is by far the best player. Easily.
It also probably seems a little easier on the eyes to me now, because what sells tickets is scoring the basketball. Jokic does everything. But Embiid is not only scoring the ball at an efficient rate, and obviously a fuck ton, he's also doing all the little things that people said he couldn't do. Which is really just a playmaking aspect. Averaging 6 assists a game
that's impressive. For 36 points per game too. Insane. Come on, man. Insane. We've never seen anything like it in our lifetime, at least.
Yeah, this is our Wilt season.
He is. It really is. This is our Wilt.
It's still off by about 15 boards and about 20 points. But this is our Wilt season.
This is the closest we'll get. We gotta appreciate it. Take what we can get.
As for our other complimentary big man, a part of this program, a part of this topic, Karl-Anthony Towns, 62, man, but it felt different than the 70.
Felt flat.
Obviously, I was watching the game, as is my job, and seeing the Hornets get lit up wasn't fun. But there was a point in time that the Hornets were down by 18 points.
Mm-hmm.
But I just never really felt like they were out of the game. Looking at the Spurs game, just like you, I had them boxed off in the league pass. I'm watching both side by side. Just like you, watching the Sixers and Spurs game, it felt like there was an avalanche just forming. That even though they were only down by 10, the Spurs were only down by 10, you guys weren't getting back in this game. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, stay down there, little bro.
Yeah.
But looking at the Wolves and the Hornets play,
just the way the Wolves are playing, you could tell. You could tell.
The reoccurring theme for the Timberwolves, even though they do have the best record out west, is that they do let teams back in games. Sometimes they close them out successfully. Other times they fail to actually shut the door all the way.
That was the Celtics last year, baby. They're learning.
And that's a problem with probably a majority of the young teams in the league, including a team like OKC, that fails to close games out sometimes. And the Wolves are in that same bracket, where obviously they run up the scoreboard, they get a big lead. If the lead doesn't last until the third quarter going into the fourth, you're in trouble. And that's what happened. Down by 18, Brandon Miller got hot. LaMelo Ball made some plays, and so did Miles Bridges. And shout out to Terry Rozier, his last game as a Hornet. Came away with some big moments in that game.
There you go. Good way to go out.
And plus, lastly, before I hand you the mic here, he was getting force fed.
He was.
It wasn't within the flow of the offense. Yeah. It wasn't actually natural. It was to the point where Anthony Edwards is being passive. And guess what, man? You're still the best player on the team.
You're the best player on the team. Yeah.
You're just having a good night. But hey, don't get it twisted. This shit runs through me. But just your thoughts and opinions on what you saw out of that game.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same as you. It's like he had 44 points at half. I started watching. Most ever. I started watching it in midway through the second half, and then I think he had 18 in the first, 22 in the second, or it was like 22 in the first, 22 in the second, 18 in the third, and then like 4 points in the fourth quarter or something like that. Anthony Edwards said after the game, he's like, we watched, like, from the get-go, they weren't locked in. He goes, we saw him hit his first few, and we wanted to see him get 100. So the game plan was already out the door. They weren't playing Timberwolves basketball. Like you said, he was being passive. They just were letting Cat score, which is like, I get it. He's going off and everything like that. But at the end of the game, you're trying to win a basketball game. And it's like, if...
Against one of the worst teams in the league.
Against one of the worst teams in the league. You're one of the best teams against one of the worst teams. It's like, if you presented this scenario to 90 to 100 people about Karl-Anthony Towns is this many points going to the fourth quarter, the number one seed versus the one of the bottom tier teams or whatever, 99 and a half out of those 100 people are going to tell you, I think the Timberwolves are going to close out that game. They just listen. You want history. You like seeing your teammates go off. You want to score as many points as you can. That's great. But at the end of the day, you got to get the win. So, still impressive. Don't get me wrong. Like I want to. He shot 20 for 27, 17 for 24 for 24 out of his 27 shots for threes. I did okay. Yes. Hold on. That might be hold on. I have a different stat. Oh no, here we go. Different stat line. He had shot 10 for 15 from three. I was looking at a different one, but still very impressive. But you need the win. You need the win. That's it. That's all it is.
It's their biggest concern. Just again, like super good, super talented young team that have Siri's trying to talk to me right now, but that have like everything going right for them this season. The Timberwolves dug out the basement and they're like a bona fide playoff lock. They don't close games that well. And especially, you remember what Tatum said? Any team could beat you on any given night on a Monday night in Charlotte. That doesn't mean you take the day off.
That's right.
We pulled up today, crib. Right. Cat had 62. Cool story, bro. Hold this L. You still lost.
Yeah, at the end of the day, people aren't going to, people will remember this for a little bit, but they won't. It's not going to be a 70-point performance and a win. That's for sure. And like, just comparing the two, like, because I had it side by side. In the fourth quarter, Embiid was passing the ball. Yep. The Sixers were still at least doing, like I said, they were booing them, but they were at least doing plays for other guys. The Timberwolves weren't doing that. They weren't doing that. So that's the difference.
Just like Devin Booker's 70-point game. You did great.
Oh, don't even get me started with that, Jerry. Don't even get me started with that. Love Devin Booker, but absolute BS 70-point game. Absolute BS. All right.
Yep. Our last topic here that we just need to touch on very quickly. Not really too much to say. Really just, what the hell are you doing, man? Tristan Thompson suspended for 25 games, and I don't want to butcher this, for using ibutamorin and Saram LGD 4033. Basically, performance-enhancing drugs to boost testosterone, muscle growth, and recovery.
So I just want to put out a few tweets that I saw because this is comedy. Someone goes, Tristan Thompson's taking steroids for 33-1 stat line is insane. And then someone goes, NBA saw bro drop 4 points and said, ain't no way, we got to test this guy. I don't know why. He of all people, why is he taking anything? What is he barely plays. I can't believe he's still on a team right now. He was fucking talking about games a few months ago. Now he's playing. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't care. It is funny because he's a cheater. So it's like he is always cheating on something. Yes. On the court, off the court. The dude, he can't stop cheating. He loves it. He's addicted to it.
Addicted to cheating. Hey, just like Chris.
I don't know. Is this career over? Like, is this it? Like, is this the last we see of Tristan Thompson?
Honestly, literally, I added this block into the show. Really,
I thought we saw the last of him like 2 years ago on the Celtics. He's only 32.
He's only 30.
Oh wow, he's not even like crazy.
This is literally only put on the show for comedic relief. I don't mean to laugh at another man's expense.
This is script. This is part of the NBA script.
Yes, but I don't mean to laugh at another man's expense. Like, it sucks. That
No.
This is also very much self-inflicted, like a lot of the other shit that's happened in your life, Tristan.
Yeah, for sure.
This is kind of dumb. You got an NBA contract to sit on a bench and chill, basically, and provide veteran leadership to a young team.
Yeah.
In Cleveland.
Yeah, he should be grateful that he's on a team. Seriously.
Come on, man.
Oh my God, that's all. Yeah,
that's all I got for today, man. I think we're all good here. You have any parting shots or anything you want to put out there?
Any parting shots? You know what? I think I do have a parting shot, Jerry. Okay. I don't usually come out like this to close it, but I do. Draymond Green, I think he's very hypocritical of what he said about Kevin Durant, about being a part of the GOAT conversation. When he's the one that begged Kevin Durant to come to Golden State. And now he's turning it right back around on him, holding that against him. Draymond, shame on you. Shame on you. I'm not saying KD's the GOAT. I'm not saying that, but man, that's a really bad excuse
where his loyalties lie. It is not with the Slim Reaper. It is with that light-skinned brother that put 4 rings in his pocket. Okay, that's where Draymond's loyalty lies.
Yeah, of course. That's his go. That's his go. Him and LeBron.
Yeah, definitely. I'm done. I'm good. The floor is yours. Yeah.
Listen, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant isn't in the GOAT conversation for me. I'm a firm believer. I believe that when it's all said and done, he can be snuck into that top 10 all-time list. But he doesn't have enough to his resume to be in that GOAT conversation. That I believe that, but I just thought Draymond's reasoning for him not being in the GOAT conversation was a little.
I'm a little shocked. I'm actually a little shocked that Draymond didn't give him more.
He would even say something, honestly.
Yeah, or if he was going to speak,
or a little bit more defensive towards Kevin Durant.
Yeah, like it'll be more positive. It'll be something to probably boost up his former teammate, but.
Right. It's like, maybe he is in that conversation, but I just don't know if he stacks up with like the LeBrons and MJs. You could say that. Yeah. You could say that.
In terms of resume, like you just mentioned, it's not up there with Steph Curry's. I'm not saying Draymond was wrong, but it's just kind of like hilarious. The fact that you're not this is the dude you begged, apparently. You called him to come to Golden State after you lost.
In your car, yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like
Draymond just keeps digging himself into a deeper hole. That's all it is.
Welcome back, Dre.
Welcome back, Dre. And I think welcome back, Dre, and I think sayonara to everyone else watching this episode. I think that is it for episode 23 of Sitting Courtside. The GOAT episode, the Draymond Green episode. Like always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe. If you are on YouTube, check out all the other videos on this platform in our shorts as well for our gamified videos. If you are listening to this on audio platforms, please make sure to leave a rating, like all that stuff to help us out. Check us out on YouTube if you're on audio. If you're on YouTube, listen to audio. All that stuff. You can follow us on our personals that are on the screen below. You can follow Sitting Courtside on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Just look us up. We are on there. And I think that's all I got, Jerry. So
Yeah.
Till episode 24, the Mamba episode. We'll see you next week.
Go Ravens.
Peace out.